city of Lagos, one synagogue has all roots.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa, we break the news.
We are one Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV.
A 24-hour news station.
Good morning and welcome to Core Digest. I am Martins Dixon. This is where we bring to you experts and professionals and people of insight who helps us discuss issues that are in the front burner in the society, issues that need questions, issues that need direction and analysis. And this morning we will be taking further our discussions on the synagogue collapsed building. We are looking at the unanswered questions. A lot of questions has been asked as a result of that collapse due to the extent of damage and disaster, even affecting so many lives. And I have here people who are knowledgeable in part areas of to help us out with that discussion this morning. And we have Tunde Lashabi. He is the President, Nigeria Institute of Building, and also a council member of the Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria. So you're welcome to Core Digest.
Thank you very much.
And we also have here Olufemi Akinsola. He is a former Honorary General Secretary, Nigeria Institute of Builders, and also a former council member of the Registered Builders of Nigeria. He is also a chief lecturer in the Department of Building College of Technology. Yeah, well, welcome to Core Digest.
My pleasure.
This is to tell you that we have people in the who have experience in the building sector of Nigeria to help us digest some issues. But I will want to ask and start this way with you, Mr. Lashabi. When you received the news of the collapsed building at the synagogue building, what was your reaction?
Well, thank you very much. The immediate reaction was that of pity. Pity for the people who must have died, pity for the people who must have been injured. Having said this, the other aspect that came to my mind was that perhaps those who constructed the building were not professionals. Because, like I used to say, anytime somebody is entering a building not constructed by a builder, the person is surreptitiously attempting to commit suicide. So these are the things. These are the things that came to my mind.
Well, Olufemi, he just made mention of something that is very striking. Probably the building was not built by professionals. And there is something very striking that I want to take your mind back to as I throw the next question to you. And we saw the CCTV footage of the collapse of that building. I marveled. I was like, this is unbelievable. The way at which the building just came down without, you know, it was like just something that has no strength. Just went down like that. I was like, is this a structure that is going down like this? So what do you make out of that footage? As a professional, what came to your mind with the way you saw the building collapse?
Issue of building collapse in Nigeria and by focus in Lagos State has always been handled by Nigerian Institute of Building with serious hand. We've held several press conferences. We've alerted government at several fora on certain things that needs to be done, and we were involved in several government arrangements to stem the tide of building collapse in Lagos State. However, some of the issues which we have propounded over time with government on how to curb the menace of building collapse have not been tenaciously followed. For example, there's something we call monitoring and inspection. And when you do construction work and there is need for monitoring and inspection by an agency of the government, they will know if the building that is being constructed is actually being handled by the required professionals specified in the built environment to handle such construction work. The edit of the Lagos State government on building control specified those who are meant to be on construction site, who are meant to handle construction activities, and the required document needed to be gotten, an approval required to be gotten from the government and its agency before such construction activities can take off. So this brings us to the theme of today's discussion, unanswered questions. Were all these processes followed? Before this building collapsed, looking at duration of construction activity of a floor, addition of 4 floor or 3 floor from the existing 3 floor will take nothing less than 3 months or thereabouts if the work day and night. That means for this building to grow from 3 floor to 6 floor in 3 months, and the height above every other building in that environment, means even the laymen that are going around will know something is happening here. It's noticeable. It's not hidden. That is one. Not to talk of learned, trained specialists to monitor building construction works. The questions that should be asked here is that for those 3 months or thereabout that the building was under construction, were any agency of government not have seen this building ongoing to find out whether they have the requisite document and approval for the work they are doing? Not only that, there is an edit in Lagos State that says when you are constructing a building of such magnitude, Lagos State Material Testing Laboratory will be invited to test your building for integrity. That is, it is soundly constructed and all necessary strength required of the building components are achieved. And the question again is that, is there any test results from Lagos State Testing Material Laboratory of the construction processes of this building from floor 3 to floor 6? Because each time there is a major structural component to be done, you are expected by the law to invite Lagos State Material Testing Laboratory to come to your site and take sample of the work you are doing and test it in their laboratory. If this were done, we will be able to know that government and its agencies were doing their own part. However, like you said, the footage, I saw it. The building went down vertically, as if what was supporting it underneath was removed and there was a hole under it to sink. And it sunk like that. There was nothing like devolution. When you are devolving building, if it is not properly controlled, we know what we call proper devolution of building. That is proper controlled demolition. That was what they did in NIDB building in Lagos. When the building partially collapsed and it is constituting danger to public, government have to invite experts from abroad to come and devolve the building. And that was use of dynamite to bring the building down in a controlled manner that it will not result in danger to any adjoining properties or human life. And when you look at this building, it was as if it was devolved, as if it is properly controlled demolition. You don't see any of the debris falling sideways. They all went inward, as if there is something that is controlling the demolition of that property, even though it is collapse. Collapse doesn't take place that way. We know that government has come out to say they knew it is only 3 floors that was in that building before, and it was 3 to 6 floor or 7th floor. Even one of the government reports is 7th floor, not 6th. And that an agency of the government that investigates the property after the collapse said the material they tested showed that the quality of concrete on that site were poorly made.
All right, before we begin to look at all these details and go further, I want to come back to you, Lashabi, and then let's look at this critically. If a building is just 3 floors, let's take for instance this building, and then it's going to be raised to 6 floors, additional 2 floors, or whatever addition you want to make on it. Does it have to affect the foundation, or you can just raise whatever? If you get approval, you can just raise additional floors if you want to?
Definitely, it will have to affect the foundation. Because originally, why Builder Akishola was mentioning whether there was an approval at the initial stage, was that whatever level a building is going on to, there should have been an approval right from the onset. The professionals involved will have known that this building is going up to this level. And if you have a 2 or 3 story building, now going as high as 6, definitely the structural design must have catered for 3 floors rather than 6. And of course, it means then that the people who are supposed to build it, if there is going to be any change at all, the professionals have to be contacted so that they come back into it, see what can be done about it before any other activity goes on in the building. So without such activity, without such reaction from the professionals, it is difficult to say you just want to raise the building to any level. Because right from the foundation, you already know the load that the building is carrying, the foundation is carrying.
Okay, there are some people, if this might just sound like layman perspective.
Yeah.
Some people have said probably it's because of the building is taking much more number of people than it's supposed to take.
Well, normally,
could that be a factor?
Normally, we have what we call live load and dead load. The dead load include things like walls, roofing, floors. But the live load is something about furnitures, human beings. And these will have been taken care of. The major effect is that overloading comes in when a building will have been designed at a certain level, maybe 2 or 3 floors, now to go to 6 or 7 floors. There will be overloading. The ultimate is collapse. That is the ultimate.
Okay, now before I go to you, Akinshola, let me still ask you this question.
Yes.
As the president of the Nigerian Institute of Building, does the institute carry out the regulations or monitoring or anything that has to do with buildings?
We carry out inspections, and at the same time, we have the Council of Registered Builders. In actual fact, there is an investigative committee that is still working on this particular building from the Council of Registered Builders. But like Akishola said, most of the time, we also advise the government on a lot of things. We have had cause to say that, look, there are 774 local governments in Nigeria. In each local government, there should be building control departments. Because most of the time, when you see the designs coming to the town planning department in the local government, and it's approved, you will know the architect that is designing, the structural engineer. Even with the building code now, there are builders' documents that should accompany.
Okay, those names appear on the
builders' documents? Yes.
It appears on
yes. Their stamps and everything should be there. And at the end of the day, having got that, some of these people will now get to decide they won't use those professionals again. And when there is no monitoring, you can't know what is going on. Because they will just build it anyhow they want, and majorly by quacks. But if there is a monitoring unit, when the person gets to decide, the professional, okay, where is the architect? Where is the builder? Where is the structural engineer? We will know. Not just when somebody takes a quack and start building it. The person may not even be able to understand the production information, which is the design, the architect's design, the structural engineering design, and they will be building.
So interpreting it might be
yes, that's what we call production information. He will keep on building without knowing what he's doing, and this causes a lot of problems most of the time.
All right, now this brings us back to another professional aspect of yours, which is the lecturing. Now, as a lecturer, do you think you've been able to churn out enough professionals to take care of the demand in the market for professionals that are needed to take care of these things that the president of the Building Institute is telling us?
Yeah, Java College of Tech is just one out of many other schools involved in training of builders to be. Because we have universities offering building technology in Nigeria, we have polytechnics offering building technology in Nigeria. We all work together, and they are not builders until they have graduated, and they go through another training with Nigerian Institute of Building. When they
So you can't just be a builder
you are
after
not a
graduation.
builder after graduation.
You are a building graduate.
You are a building graduate.
Okay.
You become a builder. The process is tedious. You become a builder after you have passed the corporate membership level of Nigerian Institute of Building examination, and you now go for what we call test of professional competence interview of Nigerian Institute of Building, which will now allow you and give you a passage, a visa, a leverage to attend what we call Council of Registered Builder of Nigeria final interview.
Wow, what
That
process.
final interview is now subject to how competent you are. Now, if the Carbon find you, because it's a government agency, if it find you competent to practice as a builder, they induct you and register you. It is after you have been registered and your name has been entered into the Registered Builder of Nigerian register, you become a builder. So it's a tedious process. A building graduate is not a builder. Just like an engineering graduate is not an engineer immediately.
No, you've just laid out a professional procedure for somebody to become so competent and reliable to carry out building.
There is a reason, sir, for me
let me paint this scenario to you. I've seen a situation where even back days when we're in school, you see our colleagues who are in architectural department or in the building department getting involved practically in designing buildings, and sometimes they tell you they want to go to site to monitor a particular building.
It's part of the training, but I want to correct a misnomer here.
Sometimes they do it for financial gain.
No. So. There is something I want to correct first before I answer your question.
Okay.
The media in Nigeria, they have misunderstood the word builder. I've just explained the process of becoming a builder. A contractor is not a builder. In most of the newspaper, most of the media coverages this day, when they refer to those who construct building that has collapsed, they call them builder. The builder who built the house. And that is not a builder. By the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, at Cap B13, LFN of 2004, a builder is a statutorily registered person who has been taken through the sciences of building and has been registered by Council of Registered Builder of Nigeria, and a contractor is not such registered. So interchangeably, when we use the word builder for contractor, we are creating problem. It's creating problem for builders who are professionals, because everybody uses the word builder for contractor in Nigeria. Even media that we believe should know better. So in this case now, the question you ask, when our students go to site, is to have hands-on the field knowledge, so that they can be exposed to the rudiment of construction process. It's part of their training. In fact, a student of building will not be a complete graduate if he has not been assigned to project from beginning to the end. So he has to see it done the way it is, not just the series of 3 months. We attach them to professional builder, and we have a scheme in NIOB where after having attained corporate membership, you serve a pupillage for 2 years with a registered builder who has been on the field for many years, who will take you through the mills so that you will know what it takes to practice as a professional builder. Not just I'm a graduate, I've been working for 5 years, and you have not been taken through the mills, you don't know what it takes to be a professionally registered. You serve pupillage with a registered firm of builder who will take you through the processes of what is expected to be done. And it is not for financial gain when those students go to site. They go to site to acquire knowledge and skill, which is necessary for their training.
Then what of some of them who do work for people by the side?
PP.
You know, say sometimes someone will just come and okay, probably he doesn't have enough money, and you call one student, can you help me design the building? And some of them just go ahead to do it.
Building students don't design building. It's architectural
Architects,
student who does that. Because of the poverty level in the country, you can find things like that happening. At least they are tapping from what they have acquired in school to provide some sideways services for will-be client, which ordinarily the law still require. If that what they have produced is to be used for construction, it has to be countersigned by a registered professional. An architectural student who does a design is not a registered professional yet. His own design will be given to a registered professional who will critique it and say, okay, it is good, or it is not good enough, go and adjust it, go and do it. And after he has done those amendments, he will now put his own seal and stamp on that drawing, which means the student only did it under the consultancy firm of the registered professional, not he doing it as if he's an independent consultant.
Okay, now this is raising a lot. As the president of the Institute of Building,
Yes.
so where can we really place the gap or the deficiency? Is it for the lack of professionals, or for the lack of the regulatory laws to make things, to do things the way it's supposed to be done?
Thank you very much. Before I come to that now, I also want to chip in one or two things with what Builder Akishola had mentioned when he was talking about contractor. A contractor is an entrepreneur. Anybody can be a contractor. But what we say is that if you're a contractor, for God's sake, in your own organization, there must be a registered builder if you are undertaking building projects. This is a fact, because a pepper seller, a tailor may be a contractor. But if you have the professional there, and we know that that professional had gone through the rudimentaries of training, both in NIOB and in the Council of Registered Builders, even if the building is 100-story, we can go to sleep because we are sure you are competent to handle it. Now, coming back again to the question, well, we have continued to churn out professionals, at least builders, within the institute and the council. But we cannot rule out the possibility, the problem of legislation, especially when you look at the issue of the building code, which has not been passed into law since 2006. Because with the building code, every professional knows his level. You know your level, you know what you're supposed to do at any point in time. And if there is nothing to show for it, you cannot expect anybody getting to a site and saying, who is the builder here? Because there's nothing like enforcement. And you cannot just do anything enforcement without appropriate legislation. So this is the crux of the matter. But like I said, when this is in place, everything will fall in line.
Okay, so now it seems like practically we have a situation where one person is doing the job of so many professionals.
Well, you cannot rule that out, that somebody may be laying claim to a profession he or she does not know. Because it's like all commerce. There is no control. Until we have this control in place, that is the time you can come out and say, who is in charge of this? What is your profession? Who is in charge of this? For instance, in Abuja Municipal Area Council, there was something that was brought out, which shows that right from the setting out level in which you set out a building, these are the professionals who should do it. These are the professionals who should be there. Now, if that had happened in the case of the synagogue building, I am very sure we wouldn't have been experiencing what we are experiencing now. Because without appropriate legislation, anybody can go anywhere and say he's doing this or he's doing that. And that has been the problem, our problems in the country.
The LSCBA came out to say that building was sealed. That building was sealed before the collapse. Yes. Now, what does that mean for the building to be sealed, and yet we saw what happened? If understanding the word sealed.
Yes. So. If the statement that has come out in today's paper is true, then that means somebody somewhere is playing games. The building had been sealed. It means work should stop on it. And the work did not stop. The thing continued until the collapse happened. So which means somebody somewhere had been playing some games.
And let me ask you this. If we say, or if we take the statement from that parastatal that the building has been sealed, doesn't that mean that there shouldn't be anybody around that building or in the building?
What it means is that construction activities on that site should be stopped.
Okay, that's what this sealed means.
That's what it means. When it is sealed, it means there are questions that needed to be answered on the construction activities going on in that building. Until those questions are answered, nothing should be done in the building again. So the agency that sealed the building will come and unseal it after those questions has been answered. So the issue of Synagogue of All Nations Church is quite unfortunate. I don't know why the government has been keeping a tight sealed lip on it. They have a building committee who is in charge of their church. This building committee is directly responsible to their general overseer, Joshua. Like every other church who set up building committee, they make use of professionals in their church. But that has not taken over the statutory requirement of the government that professional outside that committee should handle and oversee the construction activities. Because I have an insight where a member of that committee told me the power that be in the committee are making it difficult for those of them who are young professionals and have vibrant advice to give to them, and they don't want to take those advices. As a result, after working with them for 3 months, they push them out of the committee, because when you are telling them this type of line you are taking is not good, they become hostile to your suggestion and advice. So it means they have personal interest in what they are doing than just constructing perfectly well. Then, like, we are talking of unanswered questions. I like the title of this discussion because there are several unanswered questions in this collapsed building. For example, there is an edit in Lagos State that says that when a building construction is ongoing, the issue of health and safety should be paramount. Now, one of the questions that, because when I look at the fatalities, over 114 as of today has lost their life. The agency responsible for Health and Safety Commission in Lagos State, were they aware that a construction activity of such magnitude is going on in a Kotun with over 300 people still staying in the same building while the construction activity is going on? What are the safety precautions that has been taken? What is the safety plan put in place, which has been approved by the Health and Safety Commission, that while the work is going on, we are still going to house 300 people or more inside that building and nothing will happen to them? Was there any documentation like that? These are unanswered questions that the government has to answer, the church has to answer. Why should you keep people in a building you are still constructing, you are still adding floor, more than 3-4 floor, and you are still using it as habitable accommodation for people that are over 300 people without any plan of protection for those people? At the end of the day, this building collapsed just like that, and over 140 people lost their life, over 160 are still in hospital receiving various treatment for injuries sustained. It shows a lot of dereliction of duty on part of the committee in charge of that building in the church overseer himself, and the government agency responsible for oversight functions.
Now, there was this statement that came that the building had no approval in the first instance. And why do we have such a large building without approval to go ahead?
That's the question I raised when I said, when you have a 6-story building in a precinct of that environment, it towers above all other buildings. It's not being constructed in a hidden environment. So the agency responsible for monitoring and inspection in Lagos State is LAPSCA. And they wouldn't say they did not see it. But from what we read in paper today, that they have sealed it before it collapsed. Well, when they seal a building, a letter is written to that effect. A cross marks, a red cross mark is put on the building. It will be visible. The date it was sealed will be written there. This cross, red cross, then the date it is sealed. It is left for people who were there to find out whether such thing existed or not. But the document will be with government if actually they seal that property before it collapsed. And when they seal the property, there should be continual inspection to ensure that no activity is ongoing in the building. You just don't seal the building and say, and you walk away. Occasionally you come back and see whether they are doing something there or they are not doing, so that you can know whether to take a legal action against the user of that facility or not. So the issue of sealing is, I don't want to say it's an afterthought now, because when the governor went there, his statement was suggestive. He was pleading and begging that they should allow NEMA, LASEMA to please do their work. It may be because of the political volatility of the environment and the members of the job, but they are not above law. If rescue mission has been allowed to take place, as at when necessary, we wouldn't have lost such magnitude of life. They don't want trained personnel and skilled people to do the work. They want to do it themselves, because as if there is something they are hiding that they don't want people to know. However, when the governor went there, he only pleaded with them, let the people do their work. We will allow you to do your own. By weekend, we should finish our work by Saturday. You can continue to do your own. That's not what I expected. I expected a serious action, because there is a law in Lagos State that says that when a building collapses, the site of that building refers to the government. Government is here to make a pronouncement on the site of the collapse of the Synagogue Church of All Nations Guest House. That building that collapsed, there are several buildings that collapsed in Lagos State in the past, that the site has been taken over by the government. We can refer to so many. One in Maryland, about 2 in Maryland, several in other areas that government has taken over the properties. In this case, what has government done? What pronouncement are they making about acquisition of that site from Synagogue? Because the law was made long before now, and it has been applied to several other organizations, several individuals. So in this case, there should not be an exemption. So it has even taken more life than another building that whose property has been taken. Government should come out categorically and let us know. Are they taking over that site, as the law say in Lagos State? Or was there an exception for somebody who is larger than life, like the general overseer of the Synagogue of All Nations? Otherwise, the government has a lot to tell the public. Those whose property has been acquired by force should go to court and find a way of getting their property back, if they cannot enforce the same law here. Unanswered question, many.
All right, let's our time is actually over. Before we round up, let me ask you, the president of Nigerian Institute of Building, could you say from the institute's perspective, or from your own professional perspective, that this is a case of neglect or negligence?
Yeah, thank you. Definitely, you can point out professional neglect there. You would realize that most of the time, with what we've been talking about, the professionals are actually not being seriously involved in this particular project. And let me quickly state here, we all knew what happened on September 11, 2001, when there was something that happened at the World Trade Center in US. And we know that the plane at that time had an impact on the building. And by the time you look at the one in Nigeria here, even though there was claim that there was certain plane hovering around the building, but at the same time, there was no impact. And there were many buildings in the area. Could it be the decibel, the sound of the aircraft that caused the collapse without any impact? And if it is not true, could it be that there is an emission of certain rays that affected the building and made it just went down like a pack of cards, just like that? These are questions that need to be answered. And even there, if there are emissions, of course, there will be evidence in the roof and the materials, used in construction there. Can we ever look at the material and pinpoint anything like charred remains there? So these are questions begging for answers. Definitely, if you don't use the professionals to do the job, then we'll lose life, we'll lose money, we'll lose everything.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. I will have to round up here. I wish we could continue to other areas that need to be talked about and discussed. So many questions, and very, 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 very few answers. And we wish that at the end of investigations by the Nigerian government, we will have answers to most, if not all, of these questions that has been raised. Well, thank you very much for coming, and thank you for giving your professional insight into these discussions. And we hope the Institute of Building will do more to ensure that professionals alone put pressure and make sure that the legislation is passed and professionals alone handle buildings in Nigeria, if I go by your statement, so that people will stop the intent of committing suicide by walking into buildings constructed by professionals. Thank you so much for coming on Core Digest. And we appreciate it. Viewers, it's been Core Digest, and we've been talking about the synagogue building collapse, the unanswered questions. We will end up this segment here, and we'll be back to continue. Thank you for being with us.
Glad to have you join us on another edition of The Political Arena, the most detailed and incisive political show.
If you are a sitting governor and the opposition is able to stomach structure against you, that means you are wicked to the people.
Until the end of our time as the legitimate authority to govern this country.
Give me 20 minutes to move or they will shoot me.
He has no chance for survival. If he likes himself, this is the best time to get out before he perishes.
The PDP as a ruling party has failed.
So anybody who thinks that government will fold his hands and allow miscreants to take over the streets of our own state and cause havoc is deceiving himself.
The good, bad, ugly, and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on 4 TV News.